You say you want love, but tell me honestly, is it love you really want, or is it to feel chosen by someone? Because there is a huge difference between loving and wanting to be loved. Most people who say they seek love are actually thirsty for validation. They want someone from the outside to prove what they cannot sustain on their own worth. They want to be seen, admired, desired, not because it strengthens the bond, but because it silences the insecurity that screams inside their chest. Erich Fromm, in The Art of Loving, got straight to the point. Most do not seek to love. They seek to be loved, because being loved seems easier, more comfortable. Loving requires effort, discipline, commitment. Being loved seems like a gift that solves everything. If someone loves me, then I am important. Then I deserve to exist. And this is where the illusion begins. You don't want love. You want the feeling that you are finally enough, that someone looked at you and said, with their gaze or touch, you are worth it. Because deep down, you don't believe that on your own. Your desire for love is not about sharing. It's about filling. Filling that internal void that no one sees, but that you feel every day. A void that may have started in childhood, perhaps with rejection, abandonment, or simply from never being taught to see yourself as someone worthy of love without having to prove anything to anyone. So you grew up believing you need to be chosen to have value, that you need to be desired to be relevant. And every time someone chooses you, you feel, for a brief moment, that everything is okay, that the emptiness has disappeared. But it always comes back, doesn't it? Fromm called this immature love. It's that love that arises from the need for fusion, that urgency to merge with someone because you cannot stand being with yourself. It's not desire, it's dependency. It's not connection, it's emotional addiction. And the worst part, the culture we live in feeds this. It teaches you to look for someone to complete you, someone to save you, someone to give meaning to your existence. But that is a lie sold as romance. True love does not happen when someone chooses you. It can only be born when you stop needing to be chosen. If you've made it this far, it's because on some level, you feel this. You feel that something is wrong with the way you relate. You feel that there is something in you that still waits to be validated by someone from the outside. And maybe you are tired of begging for attention, of losing yourself trying to be what others want, of clinging to the slightest display of affection as if it were all you have. But let me tell you one thing. This video is not to comfort you. It's to awaken you. Because as long as you don't see the root of your emptiness, you will continue to call neediness love and dependency connection. And that only destroys you from within. Most people see the problem of love primarily as the issue of being loved, rather than the issue of loving, of being capable of love. Erich Fromm, The Art of Loving. This sentence should not just be read. It should be digested slowly, because it reveals an emotional distortion that dominates almost all modern relationships. The idea that love is something to be received, rather than something to be offered. And it is precisely this inversion that transforms what should be a mutual growth experience into a desperate search for validation. Have you noticed how, when thinking about love, what comes to the minds of most people is, will someone choose me? Am I interesting enough? Am I worthy of being loved? These are legitimate questions, but they reveal a completely outward focus. In this scenario, love becomes a kind of prize, and the person, a product trying to be attractive enough to deserve that prize. Fromm points out with surgical precision this misunderstanding. Being loved is the passive side of love. It is being the object of love. For many, being loved means being desired. And therein lies the problem. We confuse desire with love. We confuse being seen with being cared for. Desire is great, but it is unstable. It can ignite in 1 second and disappear in the next. And if your sense of worth is based on being desired, then you become a hostage to the gaze of the other. Your self-esteem becomes a leaf in the wind. Just one rejection, one silence, one no, and everything crumbles inside. But Fromm goes even deeper. He says that this obsession with being loved has roots in how we structure our emotional lives from an early age. He states, most people are eager for love, but almost no one is truly capable of loving. Because to love truly requires something that almost no one is willing to face: emotional maturity. Loving requires stepping outside oneself, looking at the other with responsibility, with intention, not as someone who will complete you, but as someone with whom you wish to share your wholeness. And that is rare, because we are too busy trying to be noticed, trying to prove, with every like, with every response, with every gesture of attention, that we deserve something, that we are worth something. This confusion between loving and being loved creates fragile, anxious relationships, intense at the beginning and devastating at the end. Relationships where two individuals come together not to build something, but to extract from each other what they feel is lacking within themselves. It is not love. It is an emotional bargain, a silent pact. Give me the feeling that I am worth it, and I will give you whatever you want in return. But the bill always comes due, and in the end, there is emptiness left. Again. But what exactly are we trying to fill with this desire to be loved? What is this internal void that makes us so susceptible to any affection that seems genuine? The answer to this lies in a central idea of Fromm and will be the focus of the next part: the neurotic need for fusion, the addiction to feeling complete through the other, and the price paid for it. Let's go. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. There is a brutal difference between loving someone and needing someone. But most people who say they are in search of love are actually starving for something much more primitive: validation. The desire is not to connect. It is to feel worthy. It is not to share one's essence. It is to be chosen as a way to fill the internal void that has never been faced directly. And this is where Erich Fromm's theory becomes not only relevant, but necessary. Fromm speaks of what he calls the neurotic need for fusion. In his words, the deepest desire is not for sexual union, but the yearning for fusion, to rid oneself of separation, to escape the prison of the self. Do you understand the weight of this? When you chase after someone to be loved, it is not love that you are seeking. It is fusion. It is the momentary relief from your own internal separation. You want to escape from yourself. You want someone to hold you so tightly, emotionally, physically, symbolically, that for a few seconds you disappear. That the voice inside your head goes silent. That insecurity evaporates. That the fear of not being enough, of being alone, of being forgotten, vanishes. But this is impossible, because no one will give you this in a lasting way. No human being will forever bear the weight of proving to you that you have worth. No relationship will heal a wound that is yours. And as long as you insist on this illusion, the illusion that being chosen transforms you into someone complete, you will live oscillating between euphoria and collapse, between idealization and frustration, between now it will happen and again it didn't work. Fromm makes it clear that this type of symbiotic fusion is not love. It is a regressive form of relationship based on dependence and not on freedom. He writes, "In symbiotic love, two people become one, but neither remains as an individual. It is a union without integrity." And this is the trap, because what you call deep love may just be a camouflaged dependency. Perhaps what you feel as overwhelming passion is, in fact, An addiction to feeling important to someone. It is like an emotional drug. When the other chooses you, you feel alive. When they pull away, you crumble. This hunger to be chosen has deep roots. It does not start in adulthood, in relationships, in frustrations. It starts much earlier. It begins in childhood, in the way we were seen, or not seen, by those who were supposed to teach us to love ourselves. That is why what we are calling the search for love is, in fact, an unconscious repetition of an old pain. An attempt to do now what we could not do before, to feel unconditionally loved. And this cycle only breaks when you recognize that your pain is not in the present, it is in the past. What hurts today is the echo of what was unresolved back then. And to understand this, we need to look directly at the origin of this need. We need to go down to the emotional root of the problem, the wounded child that still lives inside you, asking for love with a choked voice. And this is exactly what we will talk about in the next part.